knows a lot about the science stuff. Professor Dave explains.
Continuing along with our journey through phylum Arthropoda, we reach the clade Crustacea. Traditionally, Crustacea is considered one of the 5 arthropod subphyla. More recently, however, it has been recognized as a paraphyletic group of Pancrustacea that includes everything except the hexapods. In order to best study this group, let's go over their general characteristics, external anatomy, internal anatomy, reproduction and life cycle, and ecology. Crustaceans vary widely in their body plans. They include animals as diverse as decapods, seed shrimp, brachiopods, fish lice, krill, remipedes, tongueworms, isopods, barnacles, copepods, amphipods, and lobsters. They range in size from microscopic tantulocarids all the way up to the Japanese spider crab with a leg span of over 12 feet and a mass of 44 pounds. Most crustaceans are marine, but there are quite a few freshwater and terrestrial species as well, like the water fleas and isopods respectively. Crustaceans, like all arthropods, are segmented, bilaterally symmetrical ecdysozoans with jointed appendages and an open circulatory system that makes use of a hemocoel. They are often distinguished from other arthropods due to their ancestral condition of 2 pairs of antennae combined with a single pair of mandibles and 2 pairs of maxillae on the head, often followed by a pair of appendages on each body segment. Most crustaceans have between 16 and 20 individual segments, but some species may have 60 or more, like the remipedes. The major tagmata of most crustaceans is the head, thorax, and abdomen, though in many crustaceans, 1 or more thoracic segments are fused with the head to form the cephalothorax, which is a common feature in decapods such as crayfish and shrimp. In addition, in many crustaceans, the dorsal cuticle of the head may extend posteriorly and around the sides of the animal, forming a structure known as a carapace. For external anatomy, we will refer to a large crayfish as a model organism. Keep in mind, not all of these characteristics apply to all crustaceans, especially parasitic and sessile forms like the barnacles. However, this does not apply to a great deal of the members of class Malacostraca, including the decapods. The crustacean cuticle is composed of chitin, protein, and a calcareous material, and the harder, heavier plates of larger crustaceans are often particularly high in calcareous deposits. The cuticle is often soft and thin at the joints, thus permitting movement. All segments posterior to the carapace, if present, are covered by a dorsal plate known as a tergum. The abdomen terminates in the telson, flanked by the uropod. Members of classes Malacostraca and Remipedia typically have a pair of jointed appendages on each segment, though many other classes lack appendages on their abdomen. Looking at a typical crayfish, we begin with the cephalothorax at the rostrum, followed by the stalked compound eye that is typical in decapods, the first antennae, the second antennae, then a single pair of mandibles, 2 pairs of maxillae, 3 pairs of maxillipeds, followed by the cheliced, or first leg, that often bears claws in the malacostracans, and then 4 pairs of walking legs, for a total of 10 walking legs in the decapods, hence the name Decapoda. The second and third maxilliped and all walking legs also bear gills located within the chitinous exoskeleton. Next, each segment of the abdomen contains a pair of swimmerets that are used in locomotion. Let's look a bit closer at a biramus, meaning 2 main branches, crustacean appendage, in this case the third maxilliped. The basal portion, which includes the gills, attachment tissue, and coxa, makes up the protopod. The protopod bears an exopod and an endopod. This ancestral biramus structure has been modified in many walking legs to make them secondarily uniramus. Like external anatomy, crustacean internal anatomy varies by class, but is mostly consistent within class Malacostraca. Again, we will use a large crayfish as a model organism. Most crustaceans have muscular, respiratory, circulatory, excretory, digestive, endocrine, and nervous systems. Though the muscular and nervous systems in the thorax and abdomen show clear segmentation, there are marked modifications in other systems. One important body space to always remember in the arthropods is the hemocoel. This is a fluid-filled body cavity that is essential for many body systems. The crustacean muscular system is comprised mainly of striated muscles arranged into two main groups: flexors, which draw a part towards the body, and extensors, which extend the part outwards. The abdomen of a crayfish, for example, has powerful flexors, which are used by the animal to quickly swim backwards. Many smaller species of crustaceans lack a respiratory system and instead exchange gases directly across thin areas of the cuticle, like the appendages. Larger crustaceans, however, have gills which are delicate, feather-like, and covered in an extremely thin cuticle. In marine decapods, the gills are attached to the walking legs and are suspended within the hemocoel where they exchange gases. The body cavity is open to the surrounding water in the ventral anterior area. In many terrestrial or semi-terrestrial species, like the hermit crabs, these gills have been modified into branchiostegal lungs, and in other species, like the terrestrial isopods, they are even further modified into pleopodal lungs. The crustacean open circulatory system means they have little separation between blood and intestinal fluid. Instead, hemolymph, which is specialized blood plus intestinal fluid, functions in nutrient cycling and waste removal. Their dorsal heart is a single-chambered sac that pumps hemolymph into the arteries, which prevent backflow, and empty hemolymph into tissue sinuses, which then carry deoxygenated hemolymph to the gills, and back to the heart through the pericardial sinus with paired ostia. It's important to note that this system plays a role in digestion, excretion, circulation, respiration, and also contains amoeboid cells that aid in preventing infection, similar to the vertebrate lymphatic system. The excretory system of most adult crustaceans consists of a pair of tubules located in the ventral part of their head. Depending on the species, they are known as antennal glands, maxillary glands, or green glands. Most consist of a tubular labyrinth connected to a bladder. This system primarily functions as an osmoregulatory system and may diffuse a low-salt urine. The digestive system of most crustaceans begins after the ingestion of food that then passes into a short esophagus and a large two-chambered stomach. The first part of the stomach contains a gizzard-like gastric mill for grinding food and is lined with chitinous ridges, teeth, and calcareous ossicles. Once the food is ground, the fine particles are moved to the midgut, where chemical processing and absorption takes place in one or more pairs of large digestive ceca. Finally, the hindgut reabsorbs water and forms feces that pass out the anus. Most crustaceans are predatory, but quite a few are suspension feeders, and a few, like the yeti crabs that survive around hydrothermal vents, may obtain most of their food through a form of symbiosis with the filamentous bacteria that cover their hairy pincers. The endocrine system aids in development, pigmentation, molting, and ecdysis, and is mainly controlled by the X and Y organs and androgenic glands which occur in male malacostricans. Finally, the nervous system, like all crustacean body systems, is highly modified by taxon. Most have a dorsal brain, which is comprised of a pair of supraesophageal ganglia that surround the esophagus and connect to a ventral nerve cord which has a pair of ganglia at each segment, and nerves that connect to appendages, muscles, and other parts. Connected to the nervous system are a variety of well-developed sensory organs, like the eyes, which detect light, and statocysts, which aid in balance, and are located at the basal segment of each first antenna. They also have numerous tactile hairs for touch, which cover the cuticle and especially the chelae, mouthparts, and telson. Their antennae and mouthparts bear tactile hairs and numerous chemoreceptive hairs that serve as a sense of taste and smell. Many crustaceans have an intricate life history. Their sexes are usually separate, meaning they are dioecious, though some, like the remipedes and barnacles, are monoecious, but often cross-fertilize. Others, like the water fleas, primarily reproduce asexually through parthenogenesis, where females lay identical eggs. Mating is often external, where males release sperm and females either release eggs or capture sperm and brood their eggs in specialized chambers. Others, like the barnacles, reproduce internally using their extendable penis. Development in some species, like crayfish, is direct, as they have no larval form. In most species, however, development is indirect and involves a range of larval forms, many of which bear almost no resemblance to the adult. Most crustacean eggs hatch into a tiny nauplius that bears only 3 appendages. This nauplius must metamorphosize into the adult. In many shrimp, it becomes a protozoea, mysis, post-larval form, juvenile, and subadult before becoming an adult. In many barnacles, the nauplius becomes a cyprid larva that settles and becomes a juvenile, then adult. In many crabs, the eggs hatch instead into a zoea, which may itself have 7 or 8 stages, that grows into a megalopa, juvenile, then adult. In order to grow and develop, crustaceans, like all arthropods, must shed their outer cuticle in a process known as molting, or the making of a larger cuticle, and ecdysis, the shedding of the cuticle. This process often occurs rapidly in young, developing crustaceans, and may slow considerably in adults. The total lifespan of the crustaceans varies from less than 50 days in microscopic planktonic species to 72 years or more, though the average lifespan is between 1 and 10 years. Finally, crustaceans play a wide range of ecological roles. Many of the larger species are active predators or detritivores that play an essential ecosystem role. Some, like krill, are among the most numerous animals on the planet that act as a major food source for marine animals from juvenile fish up to baleen whales. Many terrestrial species, like the sobugs, eat decaying plant matter and are important in soil nutrient cycling. Others, like the tongueworms and fish lice, are parasitic and cause damage to fisheries and even terrestrial vertebrates. Collectively, marine crustaceans outweigh all vertebrates on the planet combined, including fish, humans, and livestock, and their ecological importance cannot be overstated. They help run biogeochemical cycles that absorb carbon and lead to a stable climate, serve as prey for the fish we eat, filter our oceans, and break down waste. Annually, humans harvest more than 10 million tons of crustaceans from our oceans, mainly shrimp. Most of these will be boiled alive, even though they have been widely recognized as sentient, meaning they can feel it the whole time they're dying. Due to incredible crustacean diversity, we will need several more tutorials to go over their phylogeny, from some of the strangest crustacean parasites, like Sacculina, to the microscopic zooplankton, to the long-lived lobsters and giant Japanese crabs. Let's move forward and learn more about crustaceans.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.